Laurence Stubbendick, and we are interviewing him in Elmwood, Nebraska, and his birthday is July 5th, 1918. And what is your current address right now?
What was what?
What's your current address?
Right here, Dad.
Brad.
That's
Your
your
address.
Elmwood, 1809 South 310th Street.
Okay. And this
Gotta
is
speak up because I can't hear that good.
okay. And Ellie's the cameraman. Ken is the producer, and I am the interviewer.
A lot louder, Kevin.
Okay.
Okay.
What war did you serve in?
World War II,
What branch of service did you go in?
anti-aircraft.
What was your rank in there?
Tea sergeant.
Where did
That's
you?
close to sergeant, if you know what that is.
Okay. Where did you serve?
In the Philippines, I was down at the Hawaii in the Pacific. That's where I served.
Like where did you draft, or were you
Yep,
drafted?
I was drafted
Where were you living when you got drafted?
in Oulu.
What made you join? Just because you had to, or
Well, just because I had to, otherwise I would never do it.
why did you pick the Air Force?
Well, it was anti-aircraft. We was had 90mm guns. We protecting the airfields. That's what we was doing.
Did you like doing that?
No, I didn't care to do it, but I had to do it.
Do you remember the first days when you were doing that?
Well, yeah. Well, see, when I went to the service, I went to Leavenworth, Kansas, and from Leavenworth, Kansas, we went to Camp Callan, California, and that's where we formed our outfit. And from there, when we was 8 weeks, we served in Camp Callan. Then we went to Angel Island. We did, and that's where we got our equipment all, and then went overseas to Hawaii.
What was it like at Pearl Harbor while you were there?
Well, if you liked a lot of people, you could like it, but I didn't, because I'll tell you, it was so crowded with sailors and army people. See, they was just bombed, and they was trying to get all the people they could there. They was afraid they was going to be attacked there again.
What did you do when it was bombed?
Well, I didn't do no. I wasn't there yet when it was bombed. After we got there, we went and protected the field from the enemy airplanes. That's what we was trying to do.
Did you ever have any training or boot camp?
Yeah, I had at Camp Callan. I had 8 weeks.
How was that?
That was wonderful. That was nice.
What kind of stuff did you do?
Oh, we just marched and had athletics, you know, and everything. And we played ball, just like you do in school. We did. But we was trained. We'd have to march every morning and every afternoon. We'd march so many miles. And then we'd camp out maybe sometimes at night.
Do you remember your instructors?
Well, yes, I did. A couple of them got killed when we come just before we come home. But I remember them real good. I do.
Did you ever see combat in war?
Just towards last.
What did you see?
Well, where we went in Hiroshima, there was we was on water one night and started bombing us the next day. And that's where I stayed then till about 2 weeks before the war ended.
What was your most memorable experiences about the war?
Boy, I'll tell you, the night they bombed us, it was the worst night.
Did you receive any medals or citations?
No, I just got medals for being in the Pacific and stuff like that. I never got wounded or anything.
Family while you were at war?
Letters.
What kind of food did they feed you while you were there?
Well, we had a lot of K rations when we got down below. But we had, otherwise, we had, when I was on Palomar Island, see, we're getting way ahead of ourselves now. We are. I got it right down in the book here where if it was, I went from Fort Leavenworth down to Angel Island. From Angel Island, I went to Pearl Harbor. Then we went to Palomar Island. That was wonderful there because we was our own boss there. Nobody was bossing us or anything. We just done what we pleased. But there was 58 islands laying in a horseshoe like this. It was, and that's where the Seabees and the Navy was making an airfield to land the big bombers on. It was, and we were protecting that there. We had guns, big 90mm guns set up on each corner. So if bombers come in, why they would, we'd try to get them before they got us. And we was trying to protect the airfield there because they was making that for the big bombers.
How many people were like with you?
Well, there was, I think there was about 150 boys. Just in our outfit there was. But there was, I imagine, around 2,000 with the Navy and the Seabees there making the airfield. There was. But that was the only people that was on that. There was 8 there. I think it was about 14 natives there yet. The rest of them they had all hauled off to different islands. They did. And they was young boys. They were. They stayed there with us and they ate with us. They climbed the coconut trees for us when we wanted coconuts.
How old were you then?
I was 23 years old.
What did you do to entertain yourself, like when you weren't doing anything?
Well, when we weren't doing anything, we had movies. They brought our movies over, and we had a recreation area where we could go and play. We played volleyball, and anything we wanted to do. Done a lot of fishing there, because we were just living right. So back in my barracks, if I step out of the back end of my barracks, I would step right off in the ocean. I would.
So you traveled a lot while you were in service?
Yep, I did. I did a lot of traveling on water mostly. See, I went from Palomar Island. I went back to. We had to go back to the islands again to rest up because Palomar was right under the equator, close to the equator. There was. And we went to Palomar Island. We went back to Pearl Harbor. Then we left there again, and we crossed the, what do you call it, the date?
Oh, international date line?
Yeah, date line we did. And went to, passed to another island. We passed that island, got to, well, there are 3 islands. There's so darn many islands there. I can't even pronounce them all. I can't. I wrote them down here. And then we got to the Philippines. And that's where we rested up then. When we got to the Philippines, we stayed there about 3 weeks. And then they loaded us all up on the LSTs and took us to Hiroshima. That's where the next place was going to be for them to bomb. And they wanted us over there to protect that airfield over there. Well, we got over there, we did, but when we was on the ships, they was bombing us before we got off of the boats. But we was lucky. None of us ever got hit. We didn't. They missed us all the time.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared. And then when we went from the, I have to look here. We went to, there's 2 islands. There's Hiroshima and Imashima. We went down Imashima. Hiroshima, I don't know if you heard, did you see the story of Ernie Powell on television? Boy, you should have seen that. Mom and I watched it, but I had to leave. I couldn't stand it anymore. Because he was a news reporter. And he was on our island, then he went over to Imashima. He wanted to go with the infantry in there when they wanted to get, you know, they was going to attack it. And he got killed there. He did. But he was a wonderful man. And, you let us get me in.
Yeah, he is.
Let's start talking about it. I can't stand it sometimes. I'm sorry.
Don't hurry, don't cry, don't cry.
But anyhow, we went in there. And we stayed there for a while. And then he left us and went in there in Imashima. He wanted to go in with the infantry there. He got killed there. He did. And well, that's, you've seen the show already where they raised that flag up on that hill? You've seen that, I bet, on television, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where he got killed. He did. And he was our news reporter. He was, and then when he got killed there after we left. See, we got points. Everybody had points to go home again. And just before 2 weeks before we got home, they bombed us, and we lost 7 men that night. We did. But and then after that, well, we got on a boat and we started back again. Got back to it was halfway home, and they turned us around, took us back to the Philippines, because they wanted our boat to take troops over to Japan. The war had ended. So we sat there another 2 weeks, we did. And we got an old boat then. I think it traveled faster backwards than it go forward. Because it took us 48 days to get home. It did. Because that thing really went slow. But that was an old cattle boat, that's what it was.
What kind of stuff did you do on the boat then?
Well, we had KP. Most of the time we rested on the boat. We didn't have much to do on the boat. There were so many guys on the boat that KP didn't come around very often.
Do you guys know what KP is?
No.
You know, that's mess sergeant. That's where you wash the dishes and canteens all up and everything. What the boys dirtied, you know, when they was eating and stuff. Peel potatoes. Can you imagine peeling potatoes for 200 guys?
It's a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, that's a lot of potatoes, but there was more than one guy peeling potatoes.
So, can you show us some of the stuff that you have in that book then?
Well, this is just what I got wrote down here. That's where the islands I was on. Do you want to see it? Read it. You can read it.
Did you fill that out while you were there then?
Yeah, I just kept writing that down, you know, all the time. And then, see, when I got home, I didn't finish it.
Oh, uh-huh.
I didn't, because I was so tickled to get home that
Sure.
I forgot all about the book. Yeah, you want to go through that book. There's the boys' names are all in there that was in there. I got pictures here of if you want to see them.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, there's all kinds of pictures in here. There's pictures of that folks that sent me and everything. I never did take them out of here. I've lost some of them. This was our first Christmas. It was over there in Hawaii. That was our commander there, our captain, Captain Austin, but he didn't get back here again.
He's a young guy too, huh?
Yeah.
Wasn't too old.
See, these were all officers here. We didn't get to never eat with the officers. But these are pictures here. Now you'd have to just turn this book because These are all pictures that were sent to me. I'll go as far. See, there was my wife there, and she was young.
So you were married before you
No,
went? No.
No, we got married afterwards. See, here we start. No, this isn't it. This isn't it. This is all that was sent to me when I was in service. I kept them pictures, I did. So I gotta go through here until I get to the... I got pictures in there someplace. Here we come. These are all pictures in Hawaii, when I was in Hawaii. I don't know, did I miss you one? Yeah, I missed some here. If you want to look at them, why, you can look at them and ask me questions about them. If you want to.
Who are you with right there?
Oh, that was all them boys that were with me. They're in our company. They were. And oh, we got a lot of pictures. This is the way the island looked, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Were you on Oahu then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's all kinds of pictures here.
My sister was
Now these,
here.
this is what they did for us for Christmas. These girls, they were entertainers. And they come out and they entertained us because we didn't have no place to go, you know, just on the island. And they danced and, you know, just had kind of a show.
So was that Christmas of 1941 then?
No, 42.
42?
No. Well, these are a lot of these pictures here are the, I was trying to see here. You know, you see how we're lying, sitting there and watching the show and stuff. Are you getting it? I don't. These pictures. Well, this is where we're at on Pearl Harbor. There in Pearl Harbor. This is the kind of barracks we lived in. Just old buildings that were standing around. They were all off the ground. They were. That guy, I think, he probably just got home from Pass. He did. Most of them when they're dressed up like that, because that's the way we almost usually run around like that. There. Because there was nobody allowed to come in the base. And there's some more. There's another barracks there where we lived in. And them are B-24s here that you see there flying. When they left, the ground shook when they left in the mornings. Boy, it just, that was terrible. They'd wake you up every morning. They'd take off and there'd be 100 bombers or so would take off. And
Who was the little girl?
that little girl, she always come in our outfit and wanted to get cigarettes for her folks. She did. And she was a cute little girl. And this was another actor that come in there and just put someday when we had they had rest days for us. They did. And here's some of them hula girls dancing here. They are. That's about the only entertainment we had there. And there's some more. There's guys going to get on the truck that's going into down to the Waikiki Beach. There's a movie theater down there where we always went to. See, back to Waikiki Beach was all fenced off at that time. You couldn't go down to the ocean or anything.
Have you been back?
No. I have no ambition to go back.
I'm sure not.
And there's, them are all just pictures of, here's the sugar cane right here. And that's where we lived, in the, either in a pineapple field or in the sugar cane field. We had just set up in the field someplace, right close to the airfield, air base, you know, where they land planes. We did. Well, them just pictures, I'll tell you, that I just brought along. And I always kept them in this book. There's some of these pictures that go on, they fell out. People look at them. Well, that was the theater there where we was at. There was a girl that come and entertained from the United States over there. That was the first girl we seen for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was, no, them are just hula girls that come in and dance. This is my pony that I used to ride to school.
Oh.
And see, well, you can see they was dancing there when they took them pictures. Now this is one of the movie stars that come over there and entertained us. These are all actors that come over there and entertain us that time. They did. It wasn't bad. I thought we'd never see anything, no fighting or anything like that, but we did towards last. There's crabs and stuff on, and snails on the beach. That must have been another Christmas that we had, because that's when we was all together. Yeah. There were some of the birds that were on the island. And there was, them were the boys that were on the Palomar Island with us. That was the only boys there. We was there, I think, you know, that book there tells you just how many days I was there. I think it was about 6 months we was there. It didn't leave us there any longer because it was too hot there. But them boys, they were tough. Boy, they were just as black as coal. They were. And they're the only ones that stayed there on the island with us. Well, you can see how he looks.
Mm-hmm.
They were nice, so them boys were. They couldn't even speak our English. By the time we left, why, they could speak just like we did. They were so tickled we was there. That's all of this book. I know you boys could probably see them a lot more. Here I got some pictures of what the book sent to me again. I kept every picture they sent. Oh, here we are. See, there's, maybe I was before. Yeah. Now here it starts again with the Army pictures. Some of the guys had their pictures taken with girls like that. They were all entertainers. They did the hula dance and stuff like that. A lot of pretty girls over there. Yes. Now here's. And you know one thing about it, when we got down to the Philippines, We couldn't chase the women or the girls or anybody out of our tents. We couldn't, because they didn't want to make enemies. They'd come in and they'd sit there amongst them. By gosh, sometimes we couldn't hardly go to bed even. They'd sit there. They were so tickled that we Americans got there, you know. They just, and we wasn't allowed to chase them out. It wasn't. We just have to leave them go, and then the worst part of it is they stole a lot of cigarettes and stuff from the boys. They didn't clothes, but they wouldn't let us chase them out of the tents or anything. There's some more I put them out. These are all pictures here of Hawaiian Islands here. They are. These are sugar cane. That was a sergeant they had. He was a little Mexican we had right there. But that's the kind of barracks we lived in. They just stood on 4x4s off of the ground. There's a field of sugar cane. These books have been gone through many times already. People look at the pictures. That's how the palm trees look like that, the coconut trees. And the boys they just crawl up there just like a monkey. They would when they'd want to get a coconut. That was a corporal that was in IOC, but these boys were all with me on the radar. Yeah. That was a dog that we picked up and took along with us. And we're all here we had some kind of a party again. We did.
Sounds like that's all you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's all we did. That's all we could do. But well, in the mornings, we'd march, train, you know, for marching, get ready. Well, we didn't ever think we was ever going down to combat. We really didn't. Boy, and all at once, they loaded us on ships, and we went down on LSTs. We did. And they was rough riding. They had a flat bottom. I don't know, maybe you guys don't get much good. I got a lot of good out of these pictures all the time. I go through them every once in a while. I do. Of course, you know, out of all the boys that I got wrote down, there's only about 14 of us left.
Really?
Now, we used to have a what do you call it?
Reunion?
Reunion, once a year. And we had to quit our reunion because we couldn't get no deduction on our hotel room or anything like that
really?
anymore. Because there wasn't enough of them in there anymore.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yep. Yes. But we really had a good time on our reunions. Mom knows that. She enjoyed that.
I went to.
That shows you some of the buildings that we were in. There's at least 24 going over. We'd lay in our bunks in the morning when they left, and we'd count them at night when they come back, see how many come back. And some of them come back in pretty bad shape, they did. And sometimes there were only about 5 or 6 missing, 7 missing. They'd shoot them down. This is going back to our place again. I don't know if there's many of them in here anymore or not. That was one of the boys that went into service with me. Yeah, here. You know what we was doing here?
Party.
Not partying.
Burying something.
No, we weren't burying. That was our latrine.
Building a bathroom.
See, they were digging a hole there. They're all just pictures that I took there. There was some kind of celebration we had again.
It's not all work. It's
No, it wasn't all. We didn't have it all work whenever we was there. We had our days we had off. We could go down to Pearl Harbor, down to Waikiki Beach. We could. But it was so crowded down there, when you got down there, you would wish you was back at the barracks again. See, here was another picture of where we had a day off. Had a piano. They give us that piano so you know what we was doing there. Singing. But I don't know whether we was singing or not. Probably wouldn't sound good to anybody here. Yeah, I think I'm just about to the end of all the pictures that I lost a lot of pictures I did. Well, here's some more pictures. There's the mountains there. On a clear day, well, you could see them.
Were there any units of women stationed there too?
Not at that time. In World War II, you didn't have very many women.
Yeah, no nurses or anything?
Well, there's nurses. Yeah, the Navy had nurses there. They did. And Pearl's sister, who was there, I went to see her. I had a hard time finding her and a hard time to get in there to see her.
I bet.
Because she was a lieutenant, and you know, an enlisted man wasn't supposed to go around as lieutenants.
Right.
But I finally got in there. I don't think I would have ever got in there if it wouldn't been. I met another nurse on the sidewalks there, and I said if she knew anybody by the name of Marie Fleischman. She said yes. She said I had a room with her. I said I'd sure like to see her once. I said I'm from her town, and I'd like to see. Well, she said I'll get you in there. She said she took me in there. I stayed in there for about an hour and a half and talked with Marie.
Is that Walter's sister?
Yeah, Walter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Walter's sister.
All right.
And from then on, I got a pass to go in there. I did. But you know, you ain't really supposed to be in there with an officer.
Right.
You are.
Right.
And, she was there just as long as I was. She was a Navy nurse. She was. She was stationed at Pearl Harbor. And I think that's just about all the pictures that Oh, here's some boys that were from my hometown. We got together. We finally found each other and got together. We knew that we was there, but we couldn't find where the outfits were. But when we finally got together, we did. Here's a few more yet. Yeah, that's how they load the sugar cane. They have railroad tracks run through the fields, and then they cut the sugar cane by hand and they shock it up, and then they load it with a kind of a crane. Boy, and I'll tell you, them pineapples taste good there. They was good. You never taste a pineapple here like they do there. This guy, he was, he shouldn't have even been in the service anymore because he was old already. But he got in the Seabees, he did. He could get in the Seabees. He was from Moto. Yep, this is the end of it. This is my sister, Yaldine. I don't know if you know her or not.
A vote.
That's all of them. Well, there might be one here. Well, there's a clearer picture of the pine trees and stuff.
Diamond Head in the background.
Yep, there's Diamond Head. That is. Now, I don't know if it did any good or not.
Can you remember the day when you ended your service?
When what?
When you ended service?
When I ended the service?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was September the 5th, I think. And I got to Leavenworth, Kansas, and they loaded me right on a train and took me, made me go home, and told me in 2 weeks or so they'd call me back and give me my discharge.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterward?
Well, I loved it. I was so glad to be home. I didn't do anything for it was like, well, we got married then in a couple months, we did. And then I lived right over across the field over here. I did.
So did you make any friends while you were in the service? Good
Oh
friends?
yeah, I got a lot of buddies that, not a lot of them anymore because a lot of them are dead. But I still go call some of them yet. And we talk on the telephone.
Did you join a veterans organization?
Yep. American Legion Post up here at the Elmwood.
Oh. So did you do anything like a career, like in later after the war?
Farming. Pearl and I got married and I started farming.
Milking.
Yeah.
I bet that's what I did all my life.
What kind of activities does your post do, or association?
Our post,
Yeah.
they don't have no activities at all. They just have a meeting once in a while and that's about all they have.
What do you talk about at the meetings?
Well, they have things they bring up to what's going on, you know, from in the headquarters and stuff like that. But as far as activities, we don't have none here. They all do. We're not. Nobody wants to go.
Is there anything you'd like to add? Tell us.
Well, I don't know what I should tell you. I just about went through everything. It's just if you guys want to take that down, where I went to on every island. That's about the only thing I can tell you about. Because I've had a good life after I come home. I can't complain.
Did you get out in 45 then, or 40?
Yeah, 45. Yep.
Well, that's it. Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, you got any other questions? I'll try to answer them. Yeah, my oldest boy went in the service after when Pearl and I got married, and he got old enough where he had to go to Vietnam then.
Did he go to Vietnam?
Yeah.
What was your oldest son?
Milton. He lives south here. Yeah, anything you guys want to ask me about, why?
Do you have any words about how you view war for these young kids?
What do you mean now?
What you think about war?
Well, I'll just tell you, it's a bad thing to get in war. I thought sure when we got over World War II that it would be over with, but it don't look like it. We've had a lot of wars afterwards yet. We got one right now again, and it's bad. I don't think that they should say things on television that they say.
That was one advantage to World War II, is the media wasn't
Yeah,
quite as
yep,
involved as it is now.
that's right. You didn't hear anything about it going on in World War II like they do now. I don't think that should even be brought up on television, because it gives away a lot of secrets. You know, when we wrote letters, we couldn't write anything, hardly. Just about that we felt good and that we was okay, and that's about all we could write.
Did you get letters that were censored, that had things cut out
Yep.
of them?
Well, I don't think you ever got a letter from me that was censored, that was cut out, anything was cut out, did you, Mom? I don't think so, because I never did mention anything that was going on, you know. I just wanted to know what was going on here, and you know, she knew well enough that I couldn't say nothing.
Yeah.
She did. And you know, when we got to Palmyra Island, we were supposed to write anything about that, where we was going or anything like that. And she was living in Lincoln with a girl up there. I knew the girl real well, I did. And when we got to Palmyra Island, I always kept writing to her and telling, oh, how Dorothy and I, we really enjoyed Palmyra, or the old settlers picnic, and that was at Palmyra. And those girls couldn't catch on what I was trying to tell them all the time. And I never had once dated Dorothy, that girl she was staying with. And I was trying to tell them something, and they finally did figure it out. They did.
long time for, that's a long time now.
Yeah, that's been a long time ago. Yes. But no, we wasn't supposed to, they censored our letters. Every letter that went out was censored.
Did you, did the war help you in any way when you came back? Did you benefit from
No,
the GI Bill?
I was really disappointed when I come back. The people didn't work together anymore like they did before I left. You know, before I left, well, it seemed like all the farmers, they worked together, they did. Like, well, they had thrashing crews, you know, and stuff like that. They did. And when we come back, you know, everything was getting more modern, it was. You had combines and stuff, everybody do their own work. And I was kind of disappointed in that. Because us kids, we had a lot of good times together when they had thrashing crews, you know, and they had meetings and stuff, and the kids all played together. They did.
Do you think the war that's going on now is a good idea?
Well, yes, it is. They've got to do it, because if we didn't, they would bomb us here before long. We had to do it. I hate to say it myself. I do. But we had to go over there and do something, because if we didn't, why, they would bomb us before long. And that would happen in the United States here. Boy, I don't know what would happen then. Well, you know what happened in New York when them planes flew in them two big hotels there. Boy, everything was really upset then, it was. And just imagine, the way we got planes now today, the way they got planes now today, or even got bombs that they can fire. Now, I think ours, if I ain't mistaken, I think they just about had something that they could have fired clear over here in the United States. And I think it's a good deal. Although I hate to see all the boys that are getting killed. I really do.
Well, thank you for telling us about your life.
Thanks.
I didn't tell you much.
Just a small part, isn't it?
Yep, that's a small part. If you'd been with me all the time, you would have known more. But then the other thing I was gonna say, when we was on Imashima, you know, that's what they say that, you know, a lot of boys get shot here from, you know, you didn't never find that out, but we had the same thing on Imashima. But before we got it all secured and everybody captured, there's a lot of boys got shot there too. They just, it was, you know, I even got hit with shrapnel one time, a bomb dropping. I never did tell anybody. There's only one boy that knew it, and he was standing out there with me. And I was just standing there, and almost I said, God, I says, I must have got shot. I says, just like that. It hit me real hard, it did, in the chest here. And I shook my pants like this, I did, and it fell down. And I noticed there was a piece of shrapnel.
Jeez.
Right.
I had a lot of angels looking over me, I'll tell you that.
Definitely that. It's a pretty close call if it hits you in the chest.
Yep, it just, that comes so close, I'll tell you, I was scared after that. I didn't go on top of that. See, when we, like, this was a scope of the radar that was sitting on top of the radar, you know, that keep going around in the air all the time to detect the planes. We had that was just above the ground. See, our radar was down in the ground more, so that bombs and stuff wouldn't hit us. Another time when them 7 boys were killed, I was standing in, and when I got back there, where I was standing, there was about that big of a hole, and a piece of shrapnel had went through there. But it hit me right in the head if I'd been there. That was another time that I said, boy, my old angels are really looking after me.
No kidding.
I had a lot of close calls, I did. But that was just one of the lucky ones. Just like I said, 2 weeks before we left that island, there was them 7 boys or 8 boys, I don't remember it for sure how many it was anymore. They got killed, and we was all ready to go home. We was. And one of the boys was right from Syracuse, where I come from. I went to see his mother after I come home. I did. And she wanted to know if it paid to bring him home. I said, well, that was up to her. Because when we buried him all on top of each other. Just took a bulldozer, just took a trench out and buried them on top of each other. We did. And you can imagine what that was like, where thousands of them got killed when they went in on beaches. They did. Because that had to be cleaned up and had to be buried, and that's what they did there too. They wrapped them up in a blanket and went and bury them.
Good thing we had special lesson to it, because when I was young, I didn't know it.
No, I know you didn't. Well, there was a lot of things that we didn't dare to tell anybody. And there's a lot of them boys, they dug up again, they did, and shipped their bones home and stuff. They did. Yeah. And a lot of times I don't really think that they got the right bodies when they got them home, because a lot of them guys didn't have no dog tags on anymore. They didn't. And when they're buried like that way, how are you going to tell who it was? Although it satisfied the parents and whoever.
Right.
Yep, it did. It's no fun. I'll tell you that. Boys don't know how lucky you are here.
You think so?
Yeah.
Boys and girls, they just don't know how lucky
No.
they've got it here. And that's what I always said, the United States don't know what it's like to be bombed. There's never a bomb dropped here. And they don't know what it's, that's why the people are spoiled here in the United States, they are. They're really spoiled here. They are. They've always had it real nice here.
And that's one of the reasons you fought for us.
Yeah, I guess.
Keep it real nice for us.
Yeah.
Keep us spoiled.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'll have stayed with every, my own boys are spoiled even. They are.
Yep.
They got everything they wanted under the,
Yes,
they get everything they want right now yet when they want something.
Yep.
you know. No, what do I have?
Now, what's your name?
Kevin Zaz.
Kevin Zaws?